Up, folks? It's another fireside chat with Pastor Brother Isaac David Brigmond, and I wanted to ask y'all some questions. Okay, you ever have these moments when you look on the internet and you find people talking about somebody in the most nicest way possible, and that person they're talking about is someone that's kin to both you and them? I had that recently. Okay, I'm going to say this, and please forgive me for this, but I had a half brother that, let's just say, he left this world by his own choice. I'll say it like that. And I had a niece that was being real nice about him on Facebook, and it got to me because I love him, and my family on that side, which was we had the same fathers, we had the same father. Well, yeah, we had the same father and the same dad. Even if they never really accepted God as their father, as long as God is known to be who made us and we know that it's for real that God made us, then he will be our father. But our dad on earth was the same person. And we had different mothers. Now, this brother of mine, he was one of those guys that was so nice that he kind of put the other siblings of ours to shame because he was good. And my mom was his stepmom, but my mom loved him so much that was her child because she could get along with him. She could probably, if he was alive right now, talk to him and respect him and her, get it right back at her, just like I respect mom now. But anyway, have you ever seen people be nice to somebody and it makes you want to break down and cry because you're like, that was so sweet of what they said? And I feel bad for my niece and nephew that was his children because of what they go through when their mind thinks of him and people. Speaking of the way your mind works, watch how you word things with people. You may mean well, but if you word it wrong, then it's your fault because you did something wrong. You know, never ever let your mind wonder what would your life be like if you didn't live the way you did now, because you shouldn't. You should be proud of what you got now and just leave it at that. But sometimes you can't help it. Your mind does things on its own that you don't want it to do. You admit to them, but you shouldn't do it at all. And I apologize to anybody I've ever hurt for this kind of thing. But you have to realize when your mind strays, you have to let God help you get back to where you belong, because I don't want y'all hurt. I don't want y'all miserable. I don't want y'all in no kind of danger because of your mind messing your life up like that. So if God can help you, and I'm sorry for that. I love you, God, and I love you, Jesus, but I make a lot of mistakes in my life, and I feel bad about, and I wish I hadn't done them. And and also God and Jesus, I want y'all to know that y'all been there for me through thick and through thin. And like I always said in some of the videos, it's been how many days that after I had my surgery on my left armpit, and what it was, if you want me to put it in this country preacher's language, it's basically an abscess that they had to cut out from under my arm thanks to a very good surgeon. And when they did this, for the longest time, I couldn't raise my hand too much. And today, when I was listening to a local country oldie station that played gospel music from 12 until 1 p.m., as I have done from time to time, I have in our home, we have in our home, over the TV on the wall, two things. One side is got a picture of Jesus and the other side has a cross. When I got to singing with the music and I raised my hand, yeah, I felt how tight my arm is under my armpit, because it's like when your arm is well, it's like loose string or loose elastic. And when you have certain surgeries, sometimes when you recover, it feels like tight rope or string or elastic. And I raised my hand even though I felt like I did, because I knew that I was doing that in the name of the Lord. I was doing it for God and Jesus. And that's the way I felt. And it really got to me, because I'm like, I can do this more now than I did before. And I was happy about it. So when you have miracles in your life, don't take them for granted. Actually, look at God and Jesus in their face. This is a metaphorical thing to do, but you have to do it physically, but do it for a metaphorical at the same time. Like, you have to look God and Jesus dead in their face, shake their hand, and hug their neck. And by doing that, you pray. You pray to God, you thank God, you act upon what God told you to do for these things. So in that case, when you do this, then that is how you hug God and Jesus. You shake their hand. By doing these actions, metaphorically, you shook their hand. Metaphorically, you hugged their neck and thanked them. But in real life, you did these actions that represented the handshake, the hug, and the thank you. And they understand that. They're not out there expecting you to do some wild and crazy thing. And you people out there, if you ever see a video, you can watch them if you want to. I would suggest be kind of cautious about it. Watch these videos about scary phone numbers. If there's one out there that says about you calling the devil, don't do it. Don't call the devil. Don't do it. It's not whether it does anything to you or not. It's just, if you're in with God and Jesus, why would you want to call a number like that? And I know that that's a bad thing to do, whoever has done it. And I'm not naming names, because if I know anyone that's done it before, I won't let the innocent be charged as being guilty for something that, yes, they did it, but if that's what they done at that time, then they've done nothing wrong but that. If overall, they probably done all kind of things, because, like they say, even Christians sin at times. And we have to go through life knowing that. But what about the family that was from, if I get my info wrong, correct me. The family that was in Texas moved to California, that had their children chained up in a room. That's messed up. To my point of view, you have to be a pretty sick individual to do that to do that to people. And it's even worse when it's your own kids, if it is your kids. They never did really say if they were their kids or not. But they kind of wondered with the way the kids were acting when they got around people after being in that room for so long, that possibly they may not be their kids. They may be kidnapped kids. But whoever kids they are, it's still not right. If it's your own kids, it's even worse. Because God gave you children. He gave you life to take care of. And if you abuse that life that God gave you, which is your children, and what is the deal with these parents? They don't want their kids, but yet instead of giving their kids up to people that would treat those kids better, they would rather keep those kids and abuse them. My point of view is, if you don't want your kids, don't put your kids through something like that. Don't abuse your kids. If you don't want them, give them to somebody in a legal procedure that is God being the judge, God being the lawyer, God being the one that will keep yourself out of harm by doing this deal. Like you ask God, okay, God, I don't want these kids. What do I do with them? God will tell you probably, hey, I know some people that would take care of them kids. You don't want them? Let them go to somebody that will take care of them. Because God knows that kids always need a good home. That's just how they're going to develop and be happy, well-adjusted kids, because they'll have a home that will love them. And that's why, there's a lot of people out there in this world that don't have kids who would do good as parents two kids that do need a good home, but yet the parents that have those kids don't want to give them kids up because there's something going on in those people's lives that having those kids benefit those things. I don't know what the thing is. They must have a deal going on. Said if you keep these kids, you get all this money or you get all this. I don't know what it is. But if the kids are adults, then you get no benefits out of it. Except for maybe saying, well, I love my kids and be lying about it. And that would be a pure out sin to lie about it. So don't do it. Just go through life knowing that if you are lying to the world about I love my kids and all the time, where is those kids at? Why are you not showing the world what you say? It's show and tell when it comes to a parent and the child love. It's not tell and then never show. But you got to be honest. You got to do it from the heart and from your heart and God's heart. You can't sit there and be like, I love my kids and then don't even do nothing about it. There's too many people out there putting their kids off on other people, but at the same time they're doing it, they're saying, I love my child. Well, how come you spend less time with your child and this other person spend more time with your child than you ever spent with your own child? Busted. See, you can't even be honest the right way. So if you don't, God doesn't give you a life to just play games with. And if you decide to play games with it, that's your problem. But you need to understand it's not fun. It's not fun to play games, and you need to learn. Devil loves when you do stupid things like that. And he'll get you for it. And every time we turn around, another one. Now, I go random with the way I talk. So you have to keep up with what I say. How about the President of the United States? Every time we turn around, someone's trying to find something against him. If there are really real charges on the president, like, okay, this is really what's wrong with him and this is what's really wrong, I could understand it. But if you can't produce any information, what are you talking about? Why are you bringing it up? You can tell me all day and night, well, Donald Trump did this. Donald Trump, can you prove it? It's like everybody in this world that ever tried to prove that they had the right to do something and they couldn't prove that right. They could say, I can do this to this man or I can do this to this woman. Do you have legal proof of this? This person is doing this to you by law and this person, do you have any legal proof of it? You say what someone's doing, but do you prove it? No, if you can't prove it, it didn't happen. And I'm not saying it didn't really happen, but you can't sit there and tell me everything this man, woman, and child did, but you can't prove it. If you can't prove it, what are you going on about? God knows what really happened, and God will let the things that go on in the dark come out in the light. And he'll let you know right straight up front that, look, this is what really happened with these people that you're putting this false blame on. You can't keep on with this mess. But y'all do. Y'all want to keep on with this mess like you know something I don't know. You say something I don't know. I'm going to tell y'all folks, quit lying. Quit telling all this mess if you don't know it for sure. Because you got to be honest. You got to be telling the truth. And you can't lie like that. If you want to tell me that someone done something, then you better prove it. Or else don't even bring it up at all. And I'm proud of a lot of stuff that's going on in my life. It's just sometimes I learn in my life and you learn in your life that we all have to make some changes with our attitudes and with the things we say and do to other people. And God can help you with that if you ask him to, and Jesus can help you with that too. But we can't sit there and just go on and like, well, I got all these problems that I need to change, like my attitude and things that I do to other people and all this. And then you just don't do nothing about it. Speak it, pray about it, ask God and Jesus to help you, and do what you're told about it. Because I can't help you, and you can't help yourself if you don't ask God, how do I get self-help through God and Jesus? Well, if you don't ask those questions to God and Jesus, you're never going to get nowhere. And see, that's just how life is. And we can't be putting the blame on, like people blame guns for this and that and the other. And you know what? The guns didn't do it. The people who own the guns done it. Guns can't do nothing by themselves. Guns only do what you make them do. It's like animals. You could have a perfectly innocent little puppy, but that puppy could go bad if the person that owns that puppy treats that puppy bad. Now, if you treat the puppy bad, then it's going to grow up knowing that that's the lifestyle it's supposed to have, mean and vicious. Don't you be mean and vicious to the puppy so that it comes out like you. I mean, you're the human, as they say in some circles, you're the human parents of a four-legged dog. So in that sense, if you own the dog and they call you their human, if people call you their human parents, that means that it's your right, that you owe that dog the right to be able to learn about the good life, not the life of go tear into this here man because his skin color is different, or go tear into the mailman because he brings you junk mail. Learn to treat that animal with respect, and when you are loyal to that animal, then they will be loyal to you. And possibly they could be saying, okay, I'm going to go for God, and when the devil comes around, I'm going to take a chunk out of the devil. Okay, yes. If a dog decides to be that way, then that's your fault, and you better be proud of it. It's not just your fault, it's you and God's fault. And I say that's one blame I wouldn't mind taking if I knew that a human being or an animal was respectful to God and said that they were going to take after the devil and say, I'm going to chase the devil down, but I'm going to stick with God. Then that's how you should be in life. That should be 4 legs, 2 legs, no legs, no matter who you are. But you got to treat your fellow brothers and sisters, whether they have 4 legs, 2 legs, no legs, or no matter how many arms they have. You got to treat them with a certain form of respect that makes them want to give you the same respect back. And plus, pass it on down to the next person or the next living thing, and then possibly be like, hey, this man taught me, or this woman taught me, or this child taught me how to be a person of God and Jesus, or an animal of God and Jesus, and now I want to repay that respect by not only being that way towards that person, but to others as well, or to other animals, or to anything that lives. And that's how you're supposed to be. But you can't expect them to automatically just pick up on that if you don't teach them first how to be. It comes first that you treat them good, they treat you good. And I'm getting tired of people looking at me like I'm wrong because I look like I do or I talk like I do. Last time I checked, I remember telling y'all in some of the things that I did for God and Jesus on the internet that I do what I do for God and Jesus for all people. I'm not a racist. I'm not against nobody. If you made the devil become a somebody, then I'll be against him. But human beings in general, no. I don't like a lot of the attitudes of some people, but it's their attitudes. It's their inner self, not them. Their inner self is the one that can go right and wrong. The outer self is just innocent. Outer self is innocent, but the outer self can get in trouble because of the inner self. Inner self being like, you need to do this, outer self. And outer self's like, inner self, no. Y'all have a fight. And you gotta let the good win over the bad. And let your whole entire being be for good instead of bad. But there's a lot of people who don't want to do that. And I tell you, the most quoted verse in the Bible was John 3:16. But yet people think that's all you need to worry about, John 3:16. I say worry about the whole Bible. And stop this mess about, I can't talk to you because you want to be a certain way. Or stop worrying about, well, I can't say this and you can't say that. My thing is, say what you got to say. Be how you got to be. But don't let what you say and do affect your life in such a way to where you can't even walk out in front of somebody without feeling ashamed of what you did. Be proud of yourself that you turned around and went from what you are to what you can be. You want to be a good man? Be a good man in the name of God and Jesus and leave the old man that was sinner behind. Yes, you'll make mistakes. You'll do things that aren't right. But God can forgive you those things if you're on the road to Him. If you're on the road to God and Jesus. And see, if this report that I heard of was true about Justin Bieber, there's hope for us all. Then if Justin Bieber is trying to be a young minister of God and Jesus, preaching on the internet to people, trying to tell them about God and Jesus, trying to sing gospel music. You go, boy, and you need to go all the way straight to heaven is where you need to go, because you know what? If you can do it, then why? If you're seriously doing this, I'm calling you out, Justin Bieber. If you're seriously doing this, this is a good call out. This is a good one, not a bad one. If you're really doing those things that they say you're doing, then I'll tell you something. Hey there, brother. I'm serious. We're brothers in Christ if you really are doing this stuff. And if he can do it, what's to say the next actor and singer can't do it, or singer, or whatever business you do in the entertainment world? What's to say the next one can't do it? What's to say that porn star can't, whoever they may be, can't get off with the porn business and go into the ministry of God and Jesus by telling everybody why they're still alive, because God made them alive. God could have said, "Nah, you in this porn business for so long, you need a disease, because maybe that'll wake you up." No, God said, you have a job that I'm not proud of, but you know what? What can I do? You won't stop doing it, so I told you every day what to do. Stop that mess. I think people who do dirty things for a living, they only do it not because they just want the money. They want to know that they can get off and get paid for it. And that's not what it should be about. It should be more about get you a job. Now you might think, well, how does this count as a job? Well, whether you get paid or not for what you do, as long as you dedicate yourself to a service and do it the way God told you to, that is a job. It's my job by God to teach and preach to y'all about Him and His Son. And what I'm trying to say is that has good benefits. Because it teaches y'all and myself things that we would not have known if it hadn't been for someone like me saying it. And I let y'all get introduced to people that you've never heard of before that are preaching the good word. You get to hear them, and you get to hear me, and you get to hear gospel music. You learn things from me that a lot of people wouldn't do. And I'm an open book when it comes to gospel music. If the gospel music is talking about God and Jesus and about heaven and about positive things that God approves of, I will listen to it. Whether it be Christian rock, or whether it be contemporary gospel, or whether it be southern gospel, soulful gospel, as long as God approves of the music, I will too. Now, if you give me this mess about, go kill somebody and all this mess, no thank you. Even gospel rap. Oh yes, that too. Because gospel music, whether it be bluegrass gospel, southern gospel, Christian rock, contemporary gospel, even people like, a lot of folks, let's see, like Dallas Holmes. Okay, Dallas Holmes is a good one. As a matter of fact, I'm serious. Rise Again, Dallas Holmes. Come on, you better listen to it. You go right now to either Pandora or either go to Spotify or either go to YouTube and look up Dallas Holmes, Rise Again. And then also the one, He Died of a Broken Heart. Okay, those songs, that is some music that had to be out there because of Dallas Holmes and God and Jesus. That was the three names that should be on those music. Because how does this music get made without God and Jesus being a part of it? See what I'm saying? So I'm saying that's good music to me. And also, I'll tell you another name. The gospel work of George Jones. The gospel music of Vestal Goodman. I mean, there's a lot of names out there that if you actually take the time to listen to them, you will say, these people were good at what they did. And they spoke a good, clean message through songs. They were ministers of the gospel through gospel music. And that's how it should be in life. I don't sing that good myself, but I try. But I have noticed that the best singing I've done was gospel music. And I do, and I'll be honest, I'm not the best thing in the world with music, but at least I admit that I sing good at gospel. And I'll tell y'all folks, y'all need to stop this. I can't sing, I can't do nothing. If you think you can't sing, look at all these people out there that can sing and how they squandered their life, how they made money off their talent for the wrong reason. If you're a gospel singer and you make money, you need to think about, I'd rather go poor and let God have all my money than I would going around having all these false friends trying to leech off me. See, it don't matter if you play rock music, gospel, or whatever. If you have a lot of money in your bank account and people know it, then you have all these false friends coming up to you and they'll try to leech off you. When you need to be thinking about all that money you make from your talent, give it to God so then you don't have so much for them to leech off of, but God will repay you by letting you have what you need in life. If I was a gospel singer, I give all my money to God and Jesus. Then God and Jesus would repay me for that with the fishes and the loaves, with everything I need. My clothes, my gas in my car, my food, my relationship with my wife. He will bless it with the fishes and the loaves. And that's what I'm saying. If you have a relationship with somebody and if it ain't going well, you start giving it to God. You start giving everything to God that you got, and God will say, okay, I need to help be the dating counselor or the marriage counselor. If it's your brother and your sister or somebody you got a problem with, sibling counseling. I mean, God is the almighty counselor, the lawyer, the banker, anything you need in life. You need a banker? Talk to God and Jesus. You need a lawyer? Talk to God and Jesus. You need a doctor? Talk to God and Jesus. You need anything in life? Talk to God and Jesus. So by doing that, you will say to yourself, I'm in a better way of life because I opened up to God and Jesus and told them this stuff. And I'll tell you something, that family that done all that to their kids, I don't know if it's possible, but if it is, pray for them and hope that they get their life straightened out with God and Jesus before it's too late. Because I'd hate to see something happen to them and then they end up in hell because they mistreated their kids or whoever it was like that. That's just not appropriate. And if you want to say it's appropriate to be that way, you've lost your mind. You lost your ever-loving mind. If you ever had a mind that loved, you lost that ability if you are on their side. Because I've never been on the side of the devil. I've been on the side that said, devil, why don't you get yourself straight with God? But then I have to slap myself in the head and realize, it'd be kind of hard for God to sort out the good and the bad if the devil was good himself. So if you want somebody who's evil to go to hell and you want someone who's good to go to heaven, then you have to let devil do his job as the king of evil, and you have to let God and Jesus do their job as king and prince of good. See, devil, I don't think he has a second in command. God does. God has Jesus who's second in command, and they work together to help us get to where we need to be in life. And the devil, he just has his poor old ugly self. Ugly as in his heart is ugly because he gave his heart to the evil that he can produce, the evil that he can make. And all these angels, if this is, God, correct me if I'm wrong, all these angels that followed the devil, they didn't have a heart for you to start with. If they did, they wouldn't have followed him. And I say things in life, and I don't want to be sitting there saying something and then I'll be wrong for it, and then you don't understand what I'm saying. I'm just saying, folks, let's pray for our governments. Let's pray for all this world. Let's don't blame things on stuff that didn't happen. You say, we're going to put all the blame on the NRA. We're going to put the blame on the guns. Whether there's an NRA or not, there's going to be people using guns irresponsibly. God said, use the gun to hunt for your groceries in the wildlife. Like if you are out there hunting deer, kill the deer for food, not for trophies. People, God invented hunting for you to use the weapon he gave you to kill the animal so you turn the animal into food, not for you to turn around. Look, if God killed an animal for you or gave you in a miracle some meat that came from an animal, he wanted to give it to you for food. He says if he gave you the ability and the knowledge to go out there and kill an animal yourself with whatever weapon he gave you, he said, I did this to you so you could turn around and use it for food, not for trophy. Not for trophy. And that about fish too. You go fishing, God says, okay, if you have your choice, you take this fish home and eat it, or you release it back into the wild. Don't use it for a trophy. You either let it go or you eat it. It's your choice. But I think you better take one of those choices. Either release the fish or take it home and eat it. Now see, there's nothing wrong with doing one of those two. But he didn't say, yeah, you have three choices. Release the fish or eat the fish or turn it into a trophy. That's human beings deal when we trophy things. When we turn things into trophies. That's like there are men in this world that I'm so ashamed of right now because they got married to a woman and they turned around and used her as a trophy just to say, look at me. I'm like I am and I got this beautiful woman in my life, so I married her to prove the point. That junk makes me mad. That stuff makes me upset because if you want to be that way, you're not for God. You're for yourself and you're for the devil because the devil's the one that'll do that. The devil's probably done picked him out a woman. How do you know the devil ain't picked him out a woman that's living in hell and he's showing her off to everybody like, look at me, I'm an old devil and I look the way I do and I got this here woman who's living in hell with me. You don't know that he ain't doing that, but if he is, he's showing you what you are to do. I'm saying if you believe in your heart and you know in your heart you got a good looking woman, meaning she's good looking for you, then you know what? Be happy with that. Don't go around using it as a trophy status. Use it as in, I'm proud to be married to who I am. I'm proud to date who I'm dating. If you're just a boyfriend. If you're a husband, be proud of it. If you're just a girlfriend, be proud of your boyfriend. If you're just a wife, be proud of your husband. Unless he does some things that God don't approve of. Now, if he starts breaking all the rules that God had for him in your life, then you need to say, hey, look here, I love you, but I can't stand this mess because you're doing stuff that God told you shouldn't be doing to me or shouldn't be doing to yourself or both of us. That's another thing about that. So if you got something good in your life, be proud of it. And don't act like you're using that pride as a trophy. Oh, well, I'm so proud that I got this here person in my life, so I need to go around like, look at me, I got something better than you. What? That's just stupid. That's like the man that has the cell phone that God wanted him to have, and then he's going around, hey, look at me. I got this cell phone here, and I'm proud of it. Now the next man comes along and he's bragging because he got an iPhone or he got this phone about as big as his whole entire body. Oh, everybody look at me. I got this here phone. Oh, ain't I better than you because my phone's bigger than yours? You know what you do? You either don't say nothing or you say, look here. It's not the size of the phone that matters. It's, did God give you that phone? And if God gave you that phone, then did God not tell you that he gave you that phone for a certain reason? See, I have a touchscreen phone and I'm proud of it because God gave it to me. But that pride does not mean I go out there and show it off like it's trophy, like it's my badge or anything, like because I have this phone I'm better than somebody. No, I'm glad to have the phone for the fact that it is for safety reasons and for some things that I want to do with it. But I'm not going to sit there and act like I'm showing it off to everybody like, hey, look at my phone. This phone here says I'm better than you because my phone is looking better than yours. No, I'm even proud of people that have a little flip phone. I'm proud of people that have any kind of cell phone. Government phone, flip phone, any kind of phone. If you have a cell phone, it's good to have one for safety reasons and for some fun, but more safety than fun, but still some fun. And I'm saying, that's like having a nice dress. Woman has the dress that God gave her, and then this other woman's got this dress that looked like she might have stole it out of some Gucci store or some Versace or some store. And she thinks she's got it better than you because she had the money to buy that dress that made her look like some rich hoochie. Excuse me. There's a woman over there looking like beautiful Cinderella, and you looking like Cinderella's rich hoochie neighbor over there. Now come on. You need to stop that mess, folks. Stop acting like because you got the money to buy this here dress that makes it look like you're better than that woman over there, or you're better. And you women, now all women are not bad. All men are not bad. I'm not saying all men and women are bad. I'm saying men do it. Men should not be treating women like they're trophies, and some women should not be dressing like hoochies. Good women know how to dress. Bad women, this is for the bad women. The bad women. Good women, I'm not even talking about y'all. But you bad women, you're sitting there dressing like hoochies and then going around in public talking about, I got raped, I don't know how I got raped. You got raped because you were flaunting yourself in such a way that made a man believe you were easy. So he took advantage of you and raped you because you dressed that way. And then the good women are looking at you like, what's wrong with y'all? We don't dress like that. We dress modestly. We dress like we're supposed to. If we do dress dirty, we do it in privacy for our man. I mean, good gracious. I mean, there's no such a thing as privacy no more with men and women. You'll do anything, anywhere, and anytime. Don't even think about what God thinks about it. You're more like, what you want to do is what you want to do. I'm going to tell y'all, folks, y'all can't be playing those head games like that, or those sick things in public like that. What's in public is supposed to be what God approves of. And what's in private should be what God approves of. Like if you're going to sit there and talk about, well, I'm going to do this here thing in public and I'm going to do this thing in private. And I'm like, hey, your public life and your private life, they look a lot similar. And I don't think they're supposed to. I know they're not supposed to because you never asked God, what do I do in public? What do I do in private? Got to tell you, in public, be respectful to all people. In private, then if you're married, you make love to your husband or your wife when y'all agree on it. That's what I'm saying. But God don't say go out in public and have sex in public. Oh, but people would love to do that. They'd love to show it off to anybody. Look at me, we're having sex in public. How you like us now? You know what? Not everybody is into that. You might like something today and you find out tomorrow somebody's looking at you like, why yesterday did you do that? Today I'm sitting here getting mad about it for what you did yesterday because you tried to push your beliefs on me. I know people right now, they like something, so automatically their children have to like the same thing they like. Don't push your likes and dislikes on your children. Let them, through the grace of God, find out what they like, not through you helping them. You need to lay off of them and let them and God tell them what they like. Don't let you say, well, I like this here food or I like this here character. You got to like it because you're my child. No, lay off of that mess. Won't you sit there and say, God, can you help my child figure their own self out? That's what you should be doing, praying. God, please help my child get to the knowledge in life to where he and you can work together to help him or her figure out what they like and dislike through your name, through your help. Not this about, I'm going to tell them what they like. And then there's people out there say, well, they didn't like that. And you say, yes, they do. I just told you they didn't like it. If I know they don't like it, why are you trying to dispute me when I'm telling you? And if I've seen it with my own eyes or I know about it from someone I trust telling me, then I think God's telling me, hey, they lied to you. That child don't like that thing. They don't like it because they don't like it. Let them tell you what they like when the time is right for them to get up front and say, Mom, Dad, you know that stuff you're pushing on me? I didn't like it. And you want to claim to everybody in the world, my child, my daughter, my son, they like this. Don't say your son likes something like, well, my son likes Bart Simpson, or my son likes He-Man, or my son likes Snoop Dogg or whatever. You know what? If they don't like that stuff, don't be lying to the world saying they do. Let them, with God's help, tell you what they and God said they liked. God's going to look at you like, okay, son, you like this thing here? I don't think it's right. Don't worry about it no more. Let it go. Give that light to the devil and let the devil like that thing. Take and give the devil that light. Okay, God will say, okay, this other thing over here, yeah, I agree with that. You should like that. God's going to sort out what that child should and shouldn't like. Because, yes, your children will have multiple likes and dislikes. And yes, there will be some likes that that God approves of, and there'll be some likes God won't approve of that your child has. But let God and your child work that out together. Don't you tell them what they're going to like and dislike. And if you don't love your moms and dads, don't play that game, I love my mom and I love my dad, and you know you're lying to them. You're lying to God and Jesus about it, and you're not telling the truth. Oh, you want to tell me you love this person in your life, but yet you haven't even proved it. You just saying it so you can get people to feel some, oh, how lovely, you love your mom and dad, knowing you're lying. I love my dad, even though when he was alive, he wasn't much of a dad, but I still loved him. My mom was mostly like the mom and dad that I should have had, and I'm glad I had, because my mom had to play two roles. So, in other words, they did more for me than he did. And then other people, men and women, came in my life and done things in my life to me that made me be like, I'm glad to know that there are people out there that cared. So there you go. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying people have been there for me when I wasn't there for myself, and probably weren't there for you to start with. But I know now that my whole entire life is yours. And I'm saying, if I was a mom or a dad, I would treat my kids the way God told me to treat them, not the way I want to treat them. If I, in being I am a child myself, even though I am 36, almost 37, then I know I love my mother, I love my mom and mama. I love my dad and daddy. Okay, my mom and my daddy. That would be my wife's mom and dad. I love them, knowing I get more respect out of mama than I would daddy. But I understand that, and I pray for her health and for his attitude and his health too. Okay, now on the other side, there's my mom, and then there's the one I call dad. Okay, I love them.